Next on AM 1480 WLEA, the Newsmaker Show. Here's Bryan O'Neill.
And we're glad to have in the studio on this Monday morning, new St. James CEO Bryan O'Donovan and Dr. Spencer Annabel. Bryan, thank you for joining us.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
And Dr. Annabel, thanks for coming in.
Good to see you again.
Well, should we start with the construction of the new hospital and how things are going there?
Sure, I'll turn that over to Bryan.
Yeah, the construction of the new hospital, many of the steel beams are up. They're starting to do some enclosures, so progress is absolutely moving along pretty well at a good pace. We're looking at to have the hospital complete in February or March of 2020.
We just did a story last week about how the helicopter, the medical helicopter, and a new helicopter landing pad, they call them helipads, will both be located in the new hospital location. Any thoughts there?
Well, we won't have the excitement of wheeling the gurney across Canisteo Street, but of course they block the street when that happens. We're a tight fit where it is right now, but it's going to just be a real, it's going to be and it's tight for the choppers to get in and out. Up there, it'll be a wide open venue, so it's a good move, and actually we'll be closer to the airport for many of the choppers launch.
Has the medical helicopter service, how's that gone for St. James?
Well, I personally think sometimes it's a little overused, but it's a very expensive service, and whoever's available comes first. It may be the service out of the Hornell Airport, or it may be Mercy Flight, and there's a financial difference. Mercy Flight is a much cheaper ride, but they're dispatched out of Canandaigua. But it's who's available first. The dispatcher sends the most time-sensitive available chopper to us, and it's often highly appropriate, but sometimes if you think of how long it takes to summon the chopper, get it here and get it back, sometimes
how long does it take for
transport.
the helicopter to get from Hornell to Rochester?
About 30 minutes.
Now, Bryan O'Donovan, how long have you been here?
A couple of weeks.
And your thoughts on how things are going in the transition?
I think the transition is going very well. I have an extremely supportive board. The medical staff and the staff, we've done multiple employee forums as well as presentations. I'm rounding quite often throughout the hospital and in our ambulatory site, so I'm extremely excited with being here, and also with the future success of St. James. I think we have an excellent team, and we'll continue to work forward to open more clinical operations and further expand our services that serve the community.
Now, we see that Brockport is a place that you've been.
So the last place I came from was actually from Strong Memorial Hospital as the Director of Ambulatory Administration. My previous job was... my previous job was in as the Director of Strong West. And Strong West, Lakeside Hospital closed in 2013. We opened Strong West in September of 2013. And we started with 0 programs, 0 visits, and in 3 to 4 years we grew. Our annual volumes are now at 102,000 visits, and we started with 30 employees. We're at 180 FTEs right now. The clinical programs, we started with 3, and we're at 21 clinical programs. So Brockport was extremely supportive of Strong West, as well as SUNY Brockport and the community. So I'm looking at similar success, putting St. James in the position to really thrive and grow our clinical services and provide more clinical services to the Hornell and surrounding community.
As far as construction goes in the new hospital there, we can see it driving by what the exterior looks like. Can you tell us about what's inside those buildings so far?
Well, first floor is going to be the lab, the emergency room, imaging services, and we're going to be upgrading the MRI from a portable MRI to a built-in MRI and right off the emergency room. And I've really been impressed with meeting with the architect over and over and over and over. how thoughtful the layout is for patient flow efficiency. Second floor will have 15 inpatient beds. It'll have how many 2 full ORs and 2 procedure rooms?
Yes.
And how many holding beds? Another 15 there or more?
I believe we'll have 12.
12
to 15.
And geared, most surgery today is either outpatient or short stay. And what else do we have on second floor?
We'll have the inpatient unit, the ORs, and that's really what's separating the floor. We'll also have an infusion center on the second floor as well. And what I've really, the detail surrounded, and it's really patient-centric of how this hospital was designed. There's lots of natural light that goes throughout the hospital. I would also like to touch on, adjacent is our medical office building that's in construction right now, or that will be starting construction right now, and we're looking at moving in the first program in October of this year. And what we'll have there is this medical village, is what we're calling it, is we'll have a co-location of many programs, many of our ambulatory programs. Oak Orchard will also be there. And so we'll have this campus that patients are able to access many different services in one campus. So the co-location of services where a patient can come in and get their labs done, as well as their imaging services and ortho services, without having to drive across town, will really be quite an asset and quite an efficiency for the patients. Also, with our providers, we have providers that will hold our clinic in the medical office building, but then do their surgical cases in the hospital. And there's only about 100-yard difference between the medical office building and the hospital. And I've had experience in Brockport in this type of environment, and the synergies that are created by the different programs and the patient experience. Patients are so happy to be able to go to one site and then have all of their multiple healthcare services administered right at that site. So I am extremely excited. I think the sky's the limit with St. James. There will be an 18-month gap, but we're very excited to launch our medical office building and co-locate our ambulatory services beginning in October of this year.
And how are things going with recruiting new physicians?
We're very blessed right now. We've got 2 new surgeons coming to town, depending upon the credentialing process, which is a lot of paperwork with New York State. You know how that goes, Bryan. They will be starting in August, September timeframe. 2 brand new surgeons, one a more senior surgeon, and another young man who's just finished his training. We also have a new orthopedic surgeon coming later this month.
In September.
Oh, September now. Yes. Okay. And we are opening a women's center with Women's Imaging Center in the new medical office building. We have a group of 3 OBGYNs that are rotating down here now. We have a lot of other exciting things happen. We have 1 ENT and I think a second one.
We're exploring the possibility with other ENT as well as other clinical services to bring them down to the Hornell area as well.
Now, for our listeners, a lot of them will think EMT, emergency medical technician. You're saying
ENT, ear, nose, and throat.
Throat. ENTs, ears, nose.
Good point.
Laryngologist.
Yeah.
Good point.
Yeah.
Talking this morning with Bryan O'Donovan, the new CEO of St. James Hospital, and along with him, Dr. Spencer Annabel. In your hospital experiences from the past, your thoughts on the quality of the staff at St. James, Bryan?
Overly impressed. The quality of the staff that we have, as well as the physicians, have really impressed me. I've had an opportunity to sit down on a couple of medical executive committees and rounding. I think the world of our chief medical officer, Dr. Bilal Ahmed, Dr. Annabel. We have just a really good core group of people. Okay. We're certainly always trying to expand to offer new services, but I'm very happy we have the team we need to grow our clinical services in Hornell.
Bryan, would you like to tell us about the upcoming event?
Sure. So the upcoming event is July 25th, Wednesday, from 5 p.m. to 7 p.m. And it's an opportunity for me to meet the community. There's some emails that have gone out, but I don't have everybody's email. So this is an open event at the main place. I would love if you were able to take a minute and stop down and introduce yourself. This community, I grew up in Avon, and so did my wife. And so rural healthcare or rural areas, this is what I really enjoy, thoroughly enjoy. And so if you have some time on Wednesday the 25th, please stop down and introduce yourself. It'd be fantastic to meet you.
That's this coming Wednesday, July the 25th, at the main place, Main Street, Hornell, the old Knights of Columbus building. Yep. What are the times again?
5 p.m. to 7 p.m.
5 p.m. to 7 p.m. on Wednesday. Talking with Bryan O'Donovan, the new CEO at St. James Hospital. Also, Dr. Spencer Annabel. Going to take a quick break. We'll be back right after the forecast. Stay with us.
McCourt's Auto Collision on State Route 36 just south of Canastillo is a full-service collision shop offering not just collision work, but also paint work. McCourt's has a 24-foot frame straightener with 3-dimensional measurement. McCourt's accepts all insurance companies and can work with you on any deductible you may have. At McCourt's, they work for your interest and your benefit, not the insurance companies. All work is fully warranted and they offer a free loaner car. McCourt's Auto Collision, State Route 36 in Canastillo, where customer satisfaction is always number one. Phone 607-698-9900.
Looks like we have an unsettled stretch of weather coming up, lasting a good portion of this week. Through today, clouds with occasional sun and muggy. Temperatures near 80, passing showers and thunderstorms. Some of the rainfall could be locally heavy. Tonight, more scattered showers and thunderstorms around. Low temperature upper 60s. Clouds and periods of sun at times on Tuesday. Again, showers and storms could occur anytime during the day. Very humid near 80. Mostly cloudy, a few showers and thunderstorms on Wednesday, and about 75 to 80. Showers mainly Thursday morning, though, then partly sunny in the 80s, and Friday right now looks okay, mostly to partly sunny and around 80. This is meteorologist Gary Best.
We're talking with Bryan O'Donovan, the new CEO at St. James, and Dr. Spencer Annabel. U of R, as they called it for years, UR Medicine has put a lot of time, effort, and staff into this new hospital. Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, let's take a journey back in time. This has been an incredible journey for St. James. You probably remember the New Vision Task Force. In March of 2014, St. James went broke. And we were tasked as a New Vision Task Force to salvage health care in Hornell. And it was a perfect storm, so to speak. A lot of things fell into place at exactly the right time. We, at that time, selected University of Rochester to be our partner going forward. And we were able to obtain, with a lot of blood, sweat, and tears, a $55 million grant to build a brand new hospital, convincing the state of New York that we were forming a partnership with U of R. And the state was very helpful in this regard because they realized their attempts to do this in the North Country, up in the Adirondacks, and downstate, having a mother hospital with affiliates, never went anywhere. And they really were hoping this would. And this is a nice network. Bryan can describe all the member hospitals that are a part of it. Bryan?
Sure. So, University of Rochester Medical Center has Straw Memorial Hospital, Highland Hospital, F.F. Thompson, as well as Noyes Hospital, Jones Memorial Hospital, and St. James. And so what we're looking at, we have such a wonderful opportunity to work with Jones Memorial Hospital. Eva Benedict is their CEO, as well as Noyes Hospital, Nicholas Noyes Hospital, with Amy Pollard as their CEO. So we're working very closely together to identify, how is there opportunity to share costs and reduce overhead, so we can eventually get all three of these hospitals. My focus is certainly St. James, but also regional, to financial viability. And with the collaboration and also with the tremendous amount of support from the University of Rochester Medical Center, I believe we are absolutely in the right direction. One big plus that St. James and the other affiliates now have is having the provider resources at URMC. And what I mean by that is it's very challenging for these smaller hospitals, especially in rural areas, to recruit physicians and APPs and other allied health professionals. And so the University of Rochester has sent many of these specialists down, including some assistance with primary care physicians. So St. James and the other regions are now have access to these excellent specialists and that are now coming down and treating the patients right in their communities, whereas previously the patients had to go up to University of Rochester for this treatment. So I think overall this has just been a fantastic experience with St. James, but also for the community members and the overall population health of this community.
One thing, Bryan, that people worry about, well, U of R wants to come in and take all the patients. No, they are at 108% occupancy and really encourage us that anything we can treat here in Hornell, we should keep in Hornell, and they're helping us make that a reality. Many people don't fully understand the affiliation arrangement. Think of General Motors Corporation. U of R is General Motors. We're Chevrolet. Jones is, I almost said Pontiac, but they're not there anymore. Each of us are a subsidiary corporation of the mother corporation, U of R, and that just allows for a lot of sharing of services. And Bryan got a good point. We've all been competing on all fronts with our neighbors, and each hospital needs to become a center of excellence for certain services. That's being sorted out as we speak. The other thing that's exciting is we're going to share a surgical on-call program where each that's a work in progress. But the good news is we're getting 2 new surgeons this fall. But wherever we can, we will have one hospital specialize in something, the other hospital, so we're not all competing for the same patient base. Bryan, you want to jump in here?
Yeah, no, I would absolutely agree that it's the collaborative approach is really is a fantastic approach. And in terms of the regional center of excellence, I look at St. James with this women's health imaging. It will be a regional clinic and a regional somewhat center of excellence for women's imaging and women's health. So it's very exciting at St. James, and it's really the amount of support that I've received from since I've started a couple of weeks ago from Eva Benedict and Amy Pollard has been extraordinary.
And I might add, with the gynecologic services, the surgery will be done here at St. James if the patient needs a surgical procedure.
Can you tell us, will there be any interesting new developments within the new St. James building that maybe we're not seeing right now at the current St. James? I know that you're very up to speed in your technology on Canisteo Street, but as long as you're constructing something new, is there anything new in the works?
Well, some of our equipment will be migrating from the old site. Trinity Health was, I think, very generous to give us all the old equipment, and that we're going through all that now, and what is very serviceable will move to the new site. For example, all of our echocardiography equipment is modern and up to date. That will transition. A number of other areas, though, will be getting brand new equipment. We have a separate grant for that. We had one grant for the hospital, one for the equipment, and most of the equipment, I think you would agree, Bryan, is going to be brand new.
Yeah, it's very exciting with a lot of digital as well as the up-to-date clinical equipment that we'll be bringing to the new hospital and the medical office building. Another advancement, and I don't have quite a date on this, for the medical office building will be up on Epic electronic medical record, which is what Straw Memorial Hospital has. In our hospital, when it's complete in early 2020, we're really hoping to migrate away from our EMR now, which is Meditech, and also go live with Epic electronic medical record. In the future, we'll see Jones Memorial, Nicholas Noyes, as well as St. James, all on the same medical record as Strong, Highland, and FF Thompson. And what this does is continuity care. This is an integration of electronic medical record. So our patients at St. James, should they ever need to be transferred up for a higher level of care to Strawn Memorial Hospital, we will know and easily be able to follow our patients.
That's great. We've been talking with Bryan O'Donovan, the new CEO at St. James, and Dr. Spencer Annabel. So many more questions I did want to ask you. If we could end with a final question, unless there were some topics that I...
Well, have us back for more questions later. We're both happy to come up and see you.
Yeah, on the new location, what are the advantages to being more in the North Hornell area for the new hospital?
Well, let me speak to that because I've been way from the beginning. The present hospital has been cobbled together since 1850s and is not suitable for staying. Economically, it's much cheaper to have a new location, saving about $1.5 million to $2 million a year operating cost. We looked initially at the site up across from Lowe's and very quickly made a decision that it was just too small. And as you move north on that lot, you get into water problems. And the old Kmart Plaza became available. The site by Lowe's was landlocked at about 9.5 acres. The site up by the old Kmart is 37 acres, and it already had a big parking lot. All we had to do was resurface that, reorganize that. All the shell buildings from the old strip mall, from Wegmans on down through to Kmart, all were structurally sound externally except for two that were leveled, and that's going to be that medical office building. So there was so much already there. The city of North Hornell and town of Hornellsville all got together to do the services like sewage and electric and all that, and it just perfectly came together. Yes, it's a little further away from city center, but there's 37 acres and there's no water problems up there. Thank goodness we just decided to move before we'd poured any concrete.
Yeah, so I look at the benefit is having that co-location of all of our ambulatory and inpatient services on one campus. So our patients don't have to cross town for specific healthcare programs or delivery. They can go to one campus and everything will be accessible to them there.
That's great. A couple of PS's here to my last question. What will be in the medical offices? Could you give me a basic rundown of what will be in the medical offices near the hospital?
Well, I'll start and Bryan jump in here. Oak Orchard will be moving up there. They're a federally qualified health care center that's operating out of 20 Elm Street now, and they will have dental services there as well. And in addition, all the U of our own practices in town will be moving there. Dr. Peterson, Dr. Ashtown, and all of their mid-level providers. All of our U of R providers will be there. All of our specialty clinics, like Tom Stuver and his cardiology group, come down here every week. They will be there. And who else will be there, Bryan?
So we'll also have our orthopedic clinic and physical therapy clinic there. We'll have a lab draw station, phlebotomy station there. As we previously mentioned, our women's imaging program will open probably in January or February. And then also we'll have our express care will be relocated there as well.
And our surgeon's orthopedic office.
Yeah, we'll have it'll be a new concept for the Hornell area, but I have experience in it'll be a multi-specialty suite. And what this will be, it's a large suite. It's about 15 to 18 exam rooms, and so we'll have 8 to 10 programs in there. And to explain that, so we could have cardiology, GI services, as well as neurology and neurosurgery, providers seeing patients at the same time. Why this is a benefit is because we can use the same staff and really lower overhead, where previously you would have to have 7 or 8 different clinics to see these patients. We're going to see all the patients in one clinic. We've really built quite this beautiful suite to see our patients in, and so we're really looking forward to launching that and opening that in October. So the medical office building is really going to be quite a benefit overall to all of our patients, as well as our providers and staff, and then a nice complement with the hospital adjacent to the medical office building.
And another final question. Will Elm Street stay open, or will everything move up to the North Hornell Kmart location?
Everything will migrate to the North Hornell location. And the slight downside of that, some of our patients who may be transportation challenged will have to develop a mechanism to how they can go up there. But we went back and forth in that discussion a couple of times because, for convenience, leave it here. And we really needed to consolidate everything at one site.
Dr. Spencer, Annabel, and Bryan O'Donovan, the new CEO at St. James, want to thank you so much for coming in.
Hey, glad to be here.
Thank you very much.